Hi everyone, welcome into this week's My Weekly CBS Fix. This week's video is dedicated to a good and dear friend, dear Rage student, Matan Zilberman, and his Kala Tiffany. Mazel tov to you on your engagement. You should build a bias number Yisrael. In this week's Parsha, Parshas Noach, so everybody knows the famous story of Noach and the flood, and that he had to build this ark, and eventually it rained, there's this huge flood, and afterwards Noach wanted to know if it was time to go off the boat. He wanted to know what Hashem's possible schedule was. So he sent the dove bird, and the dove bird is compared to the Jewish people, as we see in the book of Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim, and he sends out the dove. And the dove goes and searches, but it came back. Why did it come back? Because there weren't enough trees, and another reason is because the land was still too saturated from the flood. Now, while this story actually took place, it's not only allegorical, it actually took place. But the allegory behind it, the lesson that we should learn from it, the Torah doesn't just tell us the details just to tell us a good bedtime story, but it's teaching us that the Yonah, the bird, the dove, had no trees in which to be able to thrive on. Trees, as anybody who studied Little Torah knows, that the Torah is called the Eitz Chaim, the tree of life. The tree of life is with reference to our Torah. And a Jewish person has to know that when they're looking to settle around, if there are no trees there, if there's no Torah career there, if there's no Torah life there, you can't settle there. Or that the land is too saturated from the flood. The flood waters were waters of strife, there were flood waters of hate, there were flood waters of immorality. It was everything that Hashem was trying to get rid of. And in order for a person to settle in a certain place, he has to make sure that the land that he or she wants to settle in is not saturated with any of the wickedness that could be associated with the surrounding society. And finally, eventually, the Yonah was sent out again a week later, and he came back with the olive branch. The olive branch was another sign that while it was bitter to have, but it's better to gain your own sustenance, even if it's in a bitter fashion, than to be in servitude, getting served the best of foods. Meaning, you'll sometimes be in the land of Gullus, in exile, and sometimes things will be bitter, but the lesson is for us to push forward and do our own and go gain on our own. When you have an olive branch one day and you have another branch, so you can eventually build a nest, which eventually you can have chicks, and eventually you can have a home, and a future and descendants. And so that's how it is for us. Instead of getting that handout from Noach, the dove wanted to have that olive branch on its own and go get it. And therefore, that's the lesson for us as well. Sometimes we initially get supported by our parents, but eventually you have to go get that first job. That first job is hard to get, but eventually it's better to get that job and work hard at it instead of getting a handout. One little Torah tidbit I want to share with you, if anybody knows the largest age gap between husband and wife in the Torah, if you want to take a guess, press pause. But the answer that I want to share with you is that Noach and his wife's name was Nama. She was actually 926 years older than Noach was, which means that while Noach was on the Teva, on the ark, and the verse clearly says that he was 600 years old at the time that the flood came, that means his wife was 1,526 years old on the Teva. Any questions, you can call me. I can give you the exact calculation of how that works, but I just want to share that quick tidbit with you. Have a great Shabbos. Thank you for listening.